might think, is this guy serious? He was. His name was Ronnie Coleman. Before he became one of the most recognizable bodybuilders in history, Coleman was not living the glamorous life people associate with bodybuilding today. He was working as a police officer. And that was makes his story interesting. Ronnie didn't begin with the goal of becoming a bodybuilding legend. He simply wanted to become better than the man he was yesterday. But eventually, that mindset took him somewhere nobody accepted. The bodybuilder, who was also a cop, Ronnie Coleman, had something unusual about him. During the day, he could be wearing a police uniform. Inside the gym, he could look like a completely different person. While many people saw bodybuilding as a hobby, Ronnie treated training with an almost obsessive level of commitment. His workouts became famous for one reason: the weight were ridiculous. Squats, deadlifts, presses, and rows were just exercise for Ronnie. They become part of his identity. But here the educational part people often miss. Ronnie's incredible physique wasn't created by lifting heavy weights alone. Muscle growth depends on combinations of progressive resistance, nutrition, recovery, genetics, and years of consistency. Heavy training can build strength and muscle, but simply copying another athlete weight is not a shortcut to becoming them. Ronnie's body was the result of years of adaptations. Everybody wants to be a bodybuilder. Ronnie eventually became a professional bodybuilder and started competing against some of the biggest names in the sport. But at first, he wasn't dominating everyone. Ronnie started bringing a combinations that was extremely difficult to beat. Massive muscle, incredible condition, and his human monster performance. His arm looked enormous. His legs almost like a monster. His shoulders and arms created the kind of that made people stop to stare. But perhaps his most dangerous weapon was his mindset. That's why he known as King of Bodybuilding. He wanted to find out how far could push himself. The Olympia era. Ronnie wasn't simply trying to become bigger. He had to become better. Because bodybuilding isn't just by weight alone. Judges looks at muscular development, symmetry, proportions, conditions, and presentations. A competitor can be heavier and still lose. That's why Ronnie's success was more complicated than simply saying he was huge and greatest ever bodybuilder. The crazy training videos. Then came the footage that made Ronnie almost legendary in bodybuilding. People saw him training with weights that looks unreal. Squats and deadlifting enormous loads screaming through difficult repetitions, pushing his body when most people would have already stopped. The internet turned those movements into bodybuilding mythology. But here's something worth understanding. The dramatic weight on the bar isn't the most important lesson. The real lesson is intensity. Ronnie trained with purpose. He was casually moving the weight. He attacked every set. However, this is where modern viewers should be careful. What worked for an elite professional bodybuilder with exceptional genetics and decades of training experience automatically for ordinary gym. You don't need Ronnie Coleman weight to build an impressive physique. The price of being the king, eventually the same body that made Ronnie famous, also paid a heavy price. Years of extremely. That's why he's Mr. Olympia 8 times, winning the trophy in bodybuilding and created history.